Hey guys, welcome to the Animation Movies Recapped. This is David with you. Today I am going to recap a 2008 French-German-Luxembourgish 3D computer animated film called Dragon Hunters. I love the movie very much and hope you would like too. So, without any further ado, let's start with the recap. At the beginning of the movie, we see a serene village. But within a moment, everything changes when a fiery dragon attacked the village and everything turns into ashes. A few sheep and a little boy somehow survived. The boy hides immediately out of fear and sees his beautiful village turn into ashes. He can't do anything without leaving his beloved mother to turn into ashes. He sees the fiery eyes of the devil and promises that one day he will take his revenge on the devil, the fiery world gobbler. Cut to a few years later, a small girl is seen playing the act of Silver Knight Gothic, the greatest dragon hunter of all time. Just then, her uncle, Lord Arnold, calls her for supper. Lord Arnold lives in his vast castle all alone. None of his tenants live here with him in fear of the World Gobbler, the most terrifying dragon alive who devours entire regions, burns villages by the hundreds, swallows fortresses whole, and before returning to his lair, only leaves ashes behind. He had seen him once and lifted his sword before him, but the mere sight of his fiery gaze snatched his eyesight, making him blind. Since then, all he can see is a dead, gray landscape, a terrible place where there is no life and no joy. Arnold bemoans that if he had a nephew, he would teach him the basic principles of dragon hunting, to which Zoe excitedly says that she is ready to learn. But her excitement turns into disappointment when he informs her that hunting just isn't suitable for little girls. However, he has sent some of his faithful knights to defeat the World Gobbler, but none of them has returned till now, which makes him disappointed. Just then, a trumpet sounds. Zoe goes outside and sees that one of the faithful knights, Granian, who was on the mission to kill the World Gobbler, is returning by his horse. Arnold is overjoyed and asks him that did he has slain him or not. But as soon as he approaches him, it turns out that there is nothing left inside without ashes. Arnold bursts into anger and orders his advisor, Gildas, to bring him his battle axe and swords, and wants to go fight with the devil despite being blind. Zoe tries to convince him that they should look to get a bigger knight to fight with the fiery devil. But her uncle listens to nothing of her and says that if she continues making him peeved, he will send her to Crooked Tooth, far away from the castle, and forces her to go back to her room. As she was the devotee of Silver Knight Gothic, she sneaks out of the house to go find him so that he can defeat the World Gobbler. Cut to a team of gadders who do somewhat dragon hunting to manage the cost of living. They are 3 on the team: Wisdo, a tiny chicken-livered boy who never confronts any dragons out of fear, rather just provides directions to Lion Chu, a muscle-bound warrior and his childhood friend, and the other one is a dog, Hector, who can pee fire. However, Lion Chu and Hector are trying to defeat a Mamular, a predator with an insatiable appetite, who spends most of his time decimating fields of crops. And when he is in a particularly good mood, he may even eat the lonely farmers. However, it was certain that they don't have any special skills in dragon hunting, so they struggle a lot to defeat the monster. The monster beats them badly and all the farmers laugh at them, seeing how rookie they are. But Wisdo gives them assuagement and encourages them to fight against the monster. At one point, the monster emits green goo and Lion Chu's shoe gets stuck to it. He faces a very hard time getting rid of this. The monster throws him in the air and hurls him down to the ground. The farmers mock them because of their funny acts. However, eventually, they somehow manage to defeat the monster, but the farmers refuse to pay them their rewards, saying that they only pay rewards to dragon hunters, not to any bevy of clowns like them. It causes the dog, Hector, to burn into anger and he pees fire, which makes all the farmers frightened and they all run away. They all are sad that they worked so hard but didn't get any reward. Wisdo scolds him, saying that he never takes his job seriously, but rather acts like a clown every time. He warns him, saying that if he continues doing circus, these hicks will never going to pay them. He mocks him, saying that even Hector, with his big fangs and all that fur, made the hicks scared of him, but he didn't. And the way he is knitting as old ladies do is more than enough to make them clowns. This word really hurts him from the inside because it was his mother who taught him to knit. Lion Chu sits alone in sadness and remembers the day the Word Gobbler ruined their village. He walked into the debris and found nothing but the needles her mother used for knitting. Just then, Wisdo approaches and begs sorry for hurting him, and says that he could never find a better friend than him. The trio then shares their thought that one day they will have a little farm. They plan that they will have a quiet, little house on the water and will have chickens, cows, and pigs. Lion Chu suggests that they should have sheep so that they can get wool for knitting. Wisdo then makes fun of him, saying that he have to knit him a shawl and woolen underwear for the winter. However, their conversation interrupts when they hear a girl screaming in the forest. Lion Chu notices some lightning in the forest, which makes him certain that the girl is attacked by Jimbob dragons, which are blue, raptor-like dragons that can discharge electricity from off their bodies. He runs desperately towards the jungle to save the girl from their attack. On the other side, the dragons are desperate to catch their prey. At one point, it seems that they are about to catch her, but Lion Chu gets there right in time and snatches her away in front of their face. The dragons are really furious about losing their prey and are desperate to attack him. They, with their full might, discharge electricity at him. But Lion Chu, with the needles in his hand, makes their attack ricochet on them, and the dragons are eventually killed. Zoe thinks that he might be Silver Knight Gothic, who saved her life, and rushes to hug him but gets a high voltage shock and is thrown away. All her hair gets straight. Just then, Wisdo appears to collect their rewards for saving her from those terrible Jimbob dragons, but is really disappointed when hears that she doesn't have a single penny with her. She then informs them that she is looking for noble knights for his uncle, who is very rich, which makes Wisdo really happy. He then starts boasting to her about the fake tales of Lion Chu, that he defeated numerous bloodthirsty dragons all by himself and sent them all flying with a kick to the butt. However, she then takes them to Uncle Arnold. Wisdo again starts boasting fake tales of Lion Chu, which he simply ignores, but when he feels Lion Chu's muscles and body shape, he finds the attributes of a true warrior in him and appoints him with the task of defeating the World Gobbler. He instructs them to go to his kingdom, far off in the west beyond the end of the world, and tells them to strike him while he sleeps. However, Wisdo shows no interest in the proposal, thinking that they will get nothing in return. Just then, he presents his gold platter before them, which catches his eyes, and Wisdo immediately agrees. He shows him their standard contract and makes him sign in it. He then collects a large purse of gold as an advance for travel expenses. However, Arnold then tells them to saddle up and keep heading west until the end of the world. At one point, Wisdo thinks of deceiving Arnold and running away with the purse of gold, but Lion Chu prevents him from doing so. Zoe also joins them on the mission. Soon after, numerous bats appear in the sky and start to chase them. They eventually form a gigantic red dragon monster which emits fire from its mouth. Lion Chu grabs Zoe and hides behind the rocks to escape from the attack of the monster. The way Lion Chu saved Zoe makes her fabulously impressed. However, they again resume their journey to the west in search of the World Gobbler. Wisdo is really frustrated by this talkative girl and her fairy tales about her so-called hero, the Great Silver Knight Gothic. Even at this point, he wants to run away with the money, rather playing knights and dragons until the end of the world. But he can't do this anymore because Zoe is with them now. Zoe finds the needles Lion Chu uses for knitting, but he then throws the accusation to Wisdo to escape from the embarrassment. However, Hector pees fire to help Zoe make a big fire, and they all prepare to get some sleep. She begs Wisdo to read her the story of Silver Knight Gothic so that he gets to sleep fast. He does so and she falls asleep right away. Wisdo tries desperately to wake Lion Chu so that they don't miss the chance to escape. But Lion Chu fakes that he is in deep sleep to make his plan of escaping go in vain. The morning comes and they again set out to the end of the world. On their way, they meet Lensflare, one of Arnold's best knights, passing by riding his horse. Zoe stopped him to talk, but he was behaving like crazy and was playing weird things with his hands. It seems like he has seen something really frightening and has gone mad. He warns all of them to go back if they want to stay alive, and runs away by his horse. Cut to the next scene. While they are walking through a stinky forest, numerous spiky balls start to appear and is about to pierce them apart. They run desperately to escape from the thrones and somehow manage to get to the other side, to the end of the world. However, they then notice a big tree with strange leaves. Wisdo shouts at them and it turns out that they are not leaves but the crazy red bats who attacked them previously. They again start chasing them. Hector comes up with a plan and turns himself into a frigid statue to dodge the monstrous bats. On the other side, Wisdo hides in a room keeping Zoe outside, and doesn't open up the door despite her banging the door hard. However, Zoe manages to hide in a barrel and escapes from the bats. The bats infiltrate the room Wisdo was hiding and keep chasing him. He faces a very hard time dealing with the bats. Cut to Lion Chu. He opens up a room to hide, but there were numerous sheep in that room. He somehow manages to make the sheep outside and lock some of the bats inside. The rest of the bats outside start bothering the sheep, which makes him turn red in anger, and he starts fighting with them. Just then, the bats start forming the giant dragon, but this time, the head forms inside the room where Lion Chu locked up a portion of them, and the incomplete leg forms somewhere else because some of the birds were chasing Guizhou. Long story short, Lion Chu plays a trick and manages to collide the body parts with each other. Finally, the red dragon monster is defeated and the bats fly away. However, Guizhou again tries to convince him, saying that life is not a fairy tale, and in real life knights always die. He says that they are searching for World Gobbler just to get killed by him. They should run away. But this time, Lion Chu gets angry at him and tells him to step off his way if he doesn't want to come with him, which makes him hurt, and he decides to leave. Sad, Guizhou is heading back, but at one point, he is confronted by two red bats who scare him to an extreme degree, and he runs desperately back toward the team. He was about to fall down, but Lion Chu arrives there in time and saves him from falling. Soon after, pigs that can emit fire from their butt appear. Guizhou stares at them and due to extreme fear loses his mental stability and acts like a mad. Lion Chu tries his utmost to defeat them and makes them collide with the buildings, but in the process, the piece of concrete by which they were floating crashes to the ground. Due to extreme shock, Guizhou again regains his senses and desperately looks for Zoe. On the other hand, Zoe is seen laying frigidly on the ground. Lion Chu and Guizhou get to her, and Zoe, while taking her last breaths, says that it doesn't matter if they are not really knights, they're still her favorite heroes. She says that she doesn't want her death to go in vain and makes him promise that he will be with Lion Chu till he slays the World Gobbler. But soon after, it turns out that she was not hurt and was faking all this just to make him promise her that he won't run away anymore. However, with full of courage, they again head out to find the World Gobbler. Soon they hear the snoring World Gobbler. Lion Chu desperately looks everywhere to find out the sleeping monster to slay him before he awakens. But unfortunately, before they find him, a floating piece of concrete collides with the temple, which causes the bell to ring hard, and the giant skeleton dragon, the World Gobbler, awakens. Lion Chu warns everyone to hide and proceeds to fight the monster. But as Lion Chu strikes him in his monstrous teeth, his sword breaks and Lion Chu falls down to the ground. Angry, the World Gobbler then starts pulling everything inside him. Guizhou, Hector, and Zoe fly to the monster. Guizhou manages to grab its teeth and they form a chain to prevent entering inside. On the other side, frightened Lion Chu is seen hiding, covering his eyes. He then remembers the day from his childhood when he promised himself that one day he will take his revenge on him and will pierce his eyes with the needles by which his mother used to knit. He finally overcomes his fear and rushes to him with needles in his hand. He threatens the monster to leave his friends. The monster releases them and proceeds to kill Lion Chu. Although Lion Chu faces a very hard time battling the monster, he finally manages to throw the needles in his eyes. As the needles pierce his eyes, the monster screams in severe pain and is eventually killed. The next scene shows that the nature has blossomed, and there are little bunnies everywhere flying in the air. Now that they have slain the World Gobbler, they can have the reward from Lord Arnold so that their dream of a little farm comes true. They all happily go to Lord Arnold. Arnold's eyes have been cured after the monster's death, but to their surprise, he betrays them and refuses to pay them any money and drives them away single-handedly. Broken, the three brave knights are returning to lead a life of vagabonds once again. Just then, Zoe calls them from behind. It turns out that she has run away from the castle and has brought a big pouch of gold for them. She says that she wishes to live on the little farm with them, to which the rest agree. They all then head to fulfill their dream and to live a happy life all together. With this, the movie ends. See you soon with the recap of a new movie. Till then, stay happy and chill out.